Hi, my name's Oscar. I'm a music therapist and music practitioner working for Musical Keys. In this video we're going to be talking about songwriting. Songs are for everyone. They sing the words we cannot speak, they evoke the poetry of our feelings, and they connect us with ourselves and others. A recent study has shown that during the pandemic people have turned to song for their mental well-being as a source of enjoyment, a way to vent negative emotions, and as a way to self-connect. Songs have been written into our human history, going back to requiems for masses, or a piece of political prose in the form of punk, or the tales of loves and losses of a balladeer. As a music therapist, I've seen songwriting as one of the most powerful therapeutic tools. I've used it across a spectrum of different settings and with a variety of different people. For me, songwriting can be a highly flexible and person-centered way of working, and allows the person to really explore their art form and expression through song. So the first approach we're going to be using is themes. We're going to be working with themes. So what I mean by themes is anything from a day in a life, or the theme of cooking something, or a theme of a family event or a birthday or something like this. In this case we're going to be using a theme that I've taken actually from a session that I had where one client wanted to write a song about driving his car, so enjoyment of driving his car. So now we've got a theme of driving a car, we're going to look at different elements around that theme. So I've written down a few things. I've got driving, seeing things out of the window, the winding road, driving with whom, and getting to a destination. So these are just a few ideas around driving. We need to think about, what is the pleasure in driving? What is the person wanting to evoke through a song? So with all songwriting, flexibility is important. Some people might want to approach a song through lyrics first. Some people might want to approach a song through rhythm, jamming. Some people might choose a melody. Some people might choose a harmony. So it really depends on how you might want to approach the song, or how someone that you're working with might want to approach a song. In this case, I'm going to start with the theme and the elements around the theme, and then broaden out the lyrics around those elements. So from the elements of the theme that we've been exploring, I've got a couple of sentences that I've written down here that might work. So we've got: the hills roll along as we're drifting down the road. Weaving through the valley, the landscapes pass us by. How did we get to this place, so far from home? I could drive anywhere with you by my side. So we've got a lot of sort of positive aspects around the theme of driving. We're then going to kind of build the music around that. So we're going to think about how we would evoke that feeling of enjoyment of driving through music. So I've got my guitar. I'm just going to play some different chords and just get a feel for this imagery that's coming to my mind. So I'm thinking about American roadways, the great kind of savannas of the American West, Route 66. Okay, so that's a simple chord sequence. We've got a G to like a minor, which gives a sense of kind of nostalgia, maybe pathos, and a C chord, which is the subdominant back to tonic. So I've not got the ideal instrument. It's a nylon string, so you're not going to get that steel string kind of American twang, but it's giving me a kind of, it's giving me an effect of what I want. We've got the chords, we've got the words. So I'm going to think about setting those words to a melody over the chords. And again, all these things take time, so this might come in an instant, or it might take, a few sessions to get to this. The process, for me personally, is just as important, and if not more important than the outcome. So it's the process of conveying, or trying to kind of reach what you're trying to convey. The hills are rolling on as we're drifting down the road, weaving through the valley as the landscapes pass us by. How did we get to this place so far from home? I could drive anywhere with you by my side. So the second approach we're going to use is word collage. Again, kind of around a theme, but we're going to think about emotions in this one. So we're going to pick kind of an emotion, and we're going to pick anger. So this might again be applicable for venting negative emotions. But again, you could choose the emotion of happiness, enjoyment, pleasure. We're just thinking of different ways of approaching these different outcomes. So with the emotion of anger, we're going to be writing down some words around anger, cutting them out, putting them on a table, and arranging them as a starting point. Okay, so one of the reasons that we might use word collage is if it's difficult to sometimes find lyrics and compose lyrics. So if you use words, spread them out on a desk like this. We can see from these words around anger, we've got fist, tension, confusion, fury, red, stress, and shout. We can start maybe like linking them, so we've got shout and stress, have alliteration, fist and fury, stress and red, rhyme, tension and confusion kind of have some connection with shuns at the end. So we can start maybe compiling sentences from these different words, even if it was this tension inside makes me want to shout. You're just trying to literally just try and build sentences from how that person feels or how you feel, and then slowly form sentences. And again, it might be wise to approach the words through the music. So you might want to start with coming up with something that kind of sounds like you want to aim towards. So power chords, maybe punk, something that's kind of high energy, fast, kind of like maybe a bit thrashy, kind of, so something maybe along the lines of, we'll maybe go for downstrokes. So yeah, if you can, then you can maybe start applying the words onto that. I've had quite a few sessions where if you start the music, the energy of the music will evoke a response. So you could even start singing with just these words. So with this, even just walking through the words with a bit of guitar, you get a sense of a song coming forth maybe. So we do fist and shout and tension and confusion, twist and bend. So I've written down a sentence here from these words, and this is I've written down a couple of sentences from these words, and we could think about putting them into the song. I got a thing, I think it's called confusion. This place I know, it's slowly turning red. The things I knew were just an illusion. I feel the fury rising in my head. an amazing platform for people to explore their lived experience and tell their stories. So our third approach is going to be telling a story. And by this, we're inviting someone to share their experiences and connect with themselves. Obviously this approach, along with the other approaches, but probably this approach more so, you're inviting someone to explore maybe some really challenging parts of their lives or parts of their story or their journey. So to do this, it's advised to be very considered and approach this with a lot of care. By asking someone to tell their story, you may be touching upon things that are really sensitive, and so this approach, along with the other approaches, but particularly this approach, should be handled with a lot of care and consideration. So if this is an approach that works for someone, obviously the story is going to start from that person, and we're going to think about what does that person really want to say. Do they want to say something about their own journey, their own life experience, or do they want to dedicate a song to someone else? This is something to consider as a basis. And again, writing down sentences or ideas from what the person presents will get you going. So I've got a couple of sentences here that may relate to someone's story. Through troubled times I've come a long way. A simple sentence like that may be able to get you started. Or, I'm so glad to be far from all that pain. And both these sentences could be relatable to various things, whether it's addiction or abuse or some form of trauma that the person has been exposed to in their lives. Songwriting can be an amazing platform for people to explore their lived experiences and tell their story. So this third approach is telling a story. We're going to think about how people's challenges, potential traumas, and their relationship with themselves and their story can be connected through songwriting and telling their story through song. With all these approaches, obviously care, consideration, and sensitive support is needed. But particularly with this approach, we really want to think about how the material might be incredibly sensitive. So, where do we start? We're going to start, I have come a long way through abuse and addiction, and I am proud to be here now. That encapsulates the essential meaning of what you're trying to get across. And another idea might be, there are many people who have come and gone in my life, and I'm writing this for them. So almost like you're writing this story or this song as a kind of an ode or an offering or a gift to those who have helped you along the way. This approach, I think, is likely to take the longest because, again, the sensitivity of this of the content is going to mean that you might need many sessions or time to move through. So yeah, these are two sentences that we could start to think about putting into a song. So we've got, through troubled times I've come a long way, I'm so glad to be far from all that pain. So there's so many different elements to music. In this I'm thinking a lot about touch and lightness of touch, but also thinking about the rhythm and tone. So we've got that minor feel, but it's got a kind of a bit more of a determinancy about it. Okay, so I'm thinking just these two chords. so glad to be far from that pain. Troubled times I've come a long way. I'm so glad to be far from that pain. So there are three approaches to songwriting, whether it's writing a song yourself or working with someone. I think the key to all of this is that there's no right or wrong. So the way you approach it could be in a multitude of different ways. Either you start with the instrument, you start with the words, you bounce a ball around a room until something comes to mind, which I've heard an artist doing to find inspiration. Essentially, the song should come from yourself or the person that you're working with. That's the key. Is this is an expression of yourself or that person. And although these ideas are linked to enjoyment and venting negative emotions and creating self-connection, they can be adapted to any need or well-being